Welcome to the best gambling show on the internet. This is the home of the money pick. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Best upset to bet, Chiefs or Lions. We got the Chiefs plus 179 money line. We got the Lions plus 290 money line. And honestly, man, I don't think either of these teams get the upset. But if I need to roll the dice, I'm going Lions. Last week I said there would be no upsets. And I did say maybe we could flirt with the Texans. And I think we can flirt with the Lions this week. I got to tell you, man, I was not impressed by what we saw on the 49ers against the Packers. And it's not me being butthurt because they didn't cover the spread. I saw Purdy missing a lot of throws. And I'm seeing a Detroit defense that can stop the run. I'm not saying they're dominant. We know they don't got any hogs on the inside like Vita Vea, for example. We know they don't have anyone on the Detroit roster like that. But they play well as a defense. They play organized as a front seven. And I think if you can stop this 49ers run game, I think you can give them some issues. And I don't think we should overlook Goff in this game. The Goff versus Purdy matchup is where this is going to be decided. I think the 49ers will stop the Lions run game, and I think the Lions will do well against the 49ers run game. Now, on the other side, I got to tell you, man, and I get it. If you wanted to put your money with one man in a playoff type scenario, it would be Patrick Mahomes. You might even put it above Brady or Manning. That's how dominant he is. But I just feel like we got to look at the rest of the roster, and we got to look at what Lamar Jackson has done this year, and we have to look at the overall explosion between the Chiefs and Ravens. The Ravens are far more explosive, and when you go down that roster, who's got more dogs? Who's got more dogs? I mean, I think it's the Ravens by an extremely wide margin, and I'm worried about this Chiefs front seven. I don't know if they'll be able to keep Lamar Jackson in the pocket. I'm not sure their linebackers are athletic enough or good enough to contain him and pursue him. And that's the big issue. Now, the Ravens can beat you two ways. They can run it down your throat, or they can play action, slang it over your face for a 60-yarder. We've been seeing it all year. And I would compare like the Ravens to like an Oxycontin 80 milligram. Those of you back in the day, like it comes at you in waves and it keeps trickling in and it wears teams out. And by the fourth quarter, they're fucking against the ropes, and that's when the Ravens pounce. Ask the 49ers about that. 49ers look pretty good in the first half against the Ravens. Ask the Lions about that. Ask the Miami Dolphins about that. I feel like this Ravens team is absolutely relentless, and that's why I had to bring up the dogs. And I do think Mahomes plays good. I do think we see some 3 or 4 wow moments from him. I would not be shocked. But I also like the way this Ravens defense is looking, and I feel like both teams are coming into this game healthy. Now, you do wonder, is Pacheco going to be a factor? That's what the Chiefs need. They need him to have a big day, and I'm just not seeing it happen. And let's transition back to the Lions-Niners game for a second, boys. I got to tell you, man, and I know we had a college fund bet when we got the Niners -3 at the Jags. I think that was Chase Young's first football game with the 49ers. And yes, it was a college fun bet. And yes, their defensive line completely destroyed and caused chaos that game. But am I the only one who's been just a wee bit underwhelmed with the San Francisco defensive line this year? Like, am I the only one who was a wee bit underwhelmed that the Packers offensive line was able to the Packers offensive line didn't win the battle, but they didn't get whipped like we all thought they would. And this Detroit offensive line is miles above the Packers offensive line. And the play calling that Detroit has with Ben Johnson, with the leadership of Dan Campbell, is far above what the Packers can offer. Now, you do worry about Detroit going on the road, and I get the golf stuff. The golf stuff always worries me. We're not going to have too bad of weather here. We're not going to see a lot of wind where his noodle arm will get absolutely stuffed and kicked. We're going to see pretty good conditions for golf here, and I do think this Lions offensive line can win this battle. That's a big key. And then I want to go to like the Chiefs offensive line. I haven't been impressed with them the whole year. You guys remember when, I think it was Christmas Day, when the Raiders defensive line absolutely dumpster fired, kicked their ass the whole game? You guys remember that? So I feel like the Chiefs offensive line could lose this battle to the Ravens defensive line. And I went 5 minutes in this video without talking about the Chiefs wide receivers. Do any of us seriously believe like Rashee Rice has gotten so much better and that's a legit number one target to complement Travis Kelce at tight end? Am I the only one who was worried about this Chiefs wide receiving core going against a very good Ravens secondary and a Ravens defense that gives you a lot of looks? Like, they might be the best zone blitzing team in the league. They've been covering good the whole year. Look at what they did to Stroud in that second half. And I want to pivot into that, man. I think this Ravens team is a team of destiny. I feel like they're mentally tough. Everything that could go wrong in the first half against the Texans did. I called it. I felt like it would be a hard day at the office. But the way we saw that Ravens team come out in the second half, it gets me excited. And you got to see teams tested. Like, listen, did the Ravens really have any adversity this year before the Texans game? I mean, they kicked the Dolphins' ass. They kicked the 49ers' ass. They kicked the Lions' ass. We've seen them pretty much. The only game they really didn't look good in was when they lost to the Browns. Outside of that, this team has been an absolute juggernaut, and I think they're a mental juggernaut, and I'm just not sure we can just rely on Mahomes' magic. I obviously know the odds of the Chiefs beating the Ravens is far better than the Lions against the 49ers, but I feel like when you look at the return, when you look at the cash you have to put up and what you get back, give me the Lions. And we got to remember, man, this Lions team has been awful good to us the last 2 years. And I don't know how long you guys been watching at home, but if you've been watching the last 2 years, you know I don't even need to say it. Dan Campbell, Lions, I'm ready to see what happens. I think it's going to be a great game. But can I guys tell you something? And I might look like an idiot if it doesn't come off. I kind of think the Ravens could blow out the Chiefs if the Chiefs don't start fast. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. The best gambling show on the internet. Slam that like button. Let's get this money.